Much. And now my earlier conversation with Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. So you've said you have confidence in the president's tariff strategy. Obviously, China is one of the big sticking points here. And this idea of rare earth minerals, we get most of ours from them. And I know we have deposits here, but I was surprised to read that even some of what we mine here, we send to them for processing, and then it comes back to us. What can we do domestically to cut China out of that equation?
Well, Shannon, you've got it just right, because there's both the material and then the processing. And this began you go back to Obama, Biden administration. We've basically been a war on mining in this country for anything, not just rare earth minerals, critical minerals, but base minerals that we would have. And so under President Trump, it's not just drill, baby, drill. It's going to be map, baby, map, which is we've got these materials in our country, but then also mine, baby, mine. And what President Trump is getting done right now, and there's one project which is going to be announced, Resolution Copper Mine. This has been a 30-year saga in terms of getting permitting, and in 3 months, President Trump has got this rolling again. And of course, copper is key for electronics. It's key for military uses. And we've also, there's a special, under the powers of the emergency authorities, the energy emergency have, which includes the critical minerals that President Trump wisely put in place on day one. There had been only 2 mining projects ever that had been put on under an authority called Fast 41, which is an accelerated permitting. President Trump added 10 more mining projects to that this week, and all of these things are going to help us in the competition against China, who's really cornered the world market around many of these important minerals.
Yeah, and it makes it tough for us, obviously, in these negotiations when they even hint at a threat of us not having access to them. You've called China the biggest threat to this country. So where do we go in this tariff fight? How difficult do you think it is going to be to get to an agreement on things that will actually settle this?
Well, I have a lot of confidence in President Trump to be able to negotiate deals. We've got one of the best negotiators, probably the best negotiating. He's the only president we've ever had who literally wrote a book on negotiating. So I have a lot of confidence in him. But we've also have a lot of cards in our favor, because China imports 11.5 million barrels of oil a day. They import about 25% of the calories they consume every day. And so when we think about the U.S. and us as being a superpower, we're an energy superpower, we're a food superpower, and China is highly dependent. So we've allowed ourselves to become dependent on their supply chains for critical minerals. That's the one piece that we've got to undo. And of course, with the actions of the National Energy Dominance Council, which President Trump created, coordinating across the whole of government, whether it's Chris Wright in energy, Brooke Mullins in agriculture, Lee Zeldin, Howard Lutnick, everybody's working together. He gives an assignment, we all work together, and we're all getting it done to make sure that we've got not only energy dominance, but we've got energy security, including with critical minerals.
Well, and one of the things you guys are working on, too, is this issue of AI. The president's pressed really hard on that. And it's not just the technology, because we're doing that by leaps and bounds here, but it's the energy production. You've raised the worry that we have with this. China far outpaces us on that production. They use a lot of coal, which we haven't done as much here. It was really dialed back. President Trump is ramping it up again. The Natural Resources Defense Council, not surprisingly, is against that. They say it's dirty and it's dangerous, and they say it flies in the face of common sense and benefits only the fossil fuel barons who backed President Trump's election. It will harm everyone else by increasing already expensive electricity bills and dangerous pollution. They say when it comes to renewable and clean energy, it's more reliable, it's more cost effective than it's ever been, and that coal is from the past. We shouldn't go back.
Well, I'm smiling because it's like everything in that statement is actually the opposite of that, because we have in America the cleanest coal production in the world. If there's a coal plant that has survived the war on coal for the last 20 years, as President Trump likes to say, beautiful, clean coal. If there's a coal plant operating today, it is among the cleanest plants in the whole world. And of course, what you get when you have coal, 2 things. Thermal coal produces electricity. Metallurgical coal includes the metals that we need for steel making, the coke that goes into steel. There's also many other critical minerals that are located in coal that we can use as part of that process. But coal is persistent. It's 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. When we're talking about renewables, we're talking about things that are weather dependent. On the day that President Trump, as we look out on the Capitol here, on the day that President Trump was sworn in on January 20th, that was the highest peak load for the grid in this area from D.C. to New York. On that day, 70% of the electricity was coming from fossil fuels and 22% electric. How much was coming from renewables? Zero from solar, because the peak moment was 5 a.m. It was dark out. I mean, solar has a catastrophic failure every day, every 24 hours. The solar system of electricity has a catastrophic failure because it doesn't produce electricity at night. And then the wind wasn't blowing that day. So 2% of all the electricity from D.C. to New York was coming from renewables, and people are saying we got to switch to that. It's not in anyone's lifetime that we're going to get away from baseload thing. And now China, which you mentioned at the top of this, China opened enough coal plants last year to power all of California and all of New York, 94 gigawatts, 1 gigawatt's Denver, 94 gigawatts of coal. They've also got 30 nuclear plants. They've got a bunch of hydro. And this AI arms race, which is the existential threat, we cannot lose to China in an AI arms race. We're leading in tech, but they're leading in the electricity. And electricity has never been worth more. You can take a kilowatt of electricity, and in AI data center, you manufacture intelligence, and that intelligence can be used by everyone. So when they say this is only helping a select few, when we've got a powerful, strong 27 by 24-hour electric grid, that's going to lower the price for consumers. That's going to make sure that we've got affordability and reliability in our system. Where President Trump is actually doing the thing where he cares about the economy, he cares about people, he cares about affordability in this country. He's doing that. The path that we are on was destabilizing our grid, raising prices, and helping our adversaries. So it's a triple win for Americans with President Trump's energy policy.
I know that some of these organizations have vowed to file lawsuits. Many of them have been either against you, the Interior Department, or the administration as a whole to try to stop some of these things because of their concerns. We're going to track those, but I know that that is a real drag on trying to get things done when you've got maybe 3.5 years to implement at this point. I want to ask you about DOGE as well, because you signed an order this week that's about streamlining functions at Interior. And people, listen, our polling shows that they believe there's a lot of government waste and they want it taken care of, but they're very concerned, a majority of them, about what they see as kind of a slash and burn strategy with some of this. Here's reaction from one conservation group to your order this week. She says this, Jennifer Ricala, the Center for Western Priorities: if Doug Burgum doesn't want this job, he should quit now. This order shows what it looks like when leaders abdicate their jobs and let unqualified outsiders fire thousands of civil servants who are working on behalf of all Americans and their public lands. What's your answer to that?
Well, again, I have to smile because having been in the private sector for my whole life until being a governor, and then working in a state where we had to balance the budget, which is different. I mean, the federal government is, if the federal government is like a ranch where they threw everything in the barn for 100 years, and great grandpa and grampy never threw anything away, and it's accumulated everything, and you never had to clean it out, that would be that's what the federal government is. And typically, the federal government would send in a committee of 25 people. You'd pick up one object, spending 2 weeks talking about, should we get rid of it? What did great-grandpa use this for? Maybe we should save it. Might be historic. I mean, what we're doing right now is emptying out the barn and deciding what should go back in. And what should go back in is the stuff that actually serves the American people. That's what it is. And so we take national parks for an example. There is so much overhead of people that work for the park system that don't work in a park. We can actually increase the number of people. Like this summer, we'll have more people working in Yellowstone than we had in 2020. More people working, but we could end up with fewer people across the whole park system, because guess what? We may not need that many people in IT. We may not need that many people in HR. There's things that we can do to streamline. And if we got people that are in this business because they care about the environment and they care about our lands, we've got customer-facing, land-facing jobs available. We have 5,000 jobs posted to go work in the parks, but we don't need wildfire fighters, people that are for summer help, come work for us, but work in a job where we're serving the public, as opposed to in D.C. or in a regional location where you're just doing overhead that's part of the barn that's never been cleaned out.
Well, those parks are treasures, and we wish you all the best in stewarding them. Secretary, thank you for being with us on this Easter Sunday.
Thank you, Shannon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.